What's up, y'all? Welcome back to your girl's channel. This is Giselle with, let's say, Inner Thoughts episode 3. So first of all, I would like to say welcome back to your girl's channel. If you are new here, you did not click on this video for no reason. It was not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. This video was designed for you. If you are trying to heal through trauma, if you are trying to learn, a little bit more about yourself, stay tuned. Those who have been rocking with me and the ones who have been rocking with me from day one, I truly, truly appreciate you. And yeah, y'all, let's get into this video. So this video, I want to talk about trauma. I want to talk about trauma and how God still uses you through your trauma. I do want to have a disclaimer first. I am not a therapist. I'm just a girl who wakes up every day and to decide to make one more extraordinary decision while walking with purpose and, with God's grace. So I'm not a therapist, but I do want to give y'all some real life experiences and, how God is still using me through my trauma, right? So I just want to break down trauma first. So trauma for me is like, it is like when you deal with like a traumatic experience. It could have been like prolonged event. It could have been a single event that has now manifest into other things, right? Which causes to alter like your future or your cognitive behavior, your mental, your emotional behavior. You become distressed and distorted because when you used to that person that you used to rely on with yourself and safety is now taken away from you. So that's my definition of trauma. And I would say probably, okay, so backstory. I am the sixth because I have a twin. So we are the youngest out of 7 kids. My mom has 7. My mom ended up raising my twin brother and my grandmother ended up raising me, right? So I had a great life. I feel like I didn't have everything. I didn't have all the money, in the world. I didn't have necessarily like, you know, everything. I just feel like as a kid, I had what I needed um, to sustain me. I feel like my grandmother did everything she could possibly do to make sure that I was comfortable. She had other foster kids and, my cousins and stuff like that. And, I pretty much feel like I lived a really good life, a really good childhood. And because I'm still living my life now, but a really good childhood. And I feel like, even though my grandmother did everything she could possibly do, I still feel like I still had trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like trauma doesn't have a name. Trauma happens to everyone. It just depends on how you respond to it. And for me, I didn't open the door and respond well. I actually shut the door and allowed it to be dormant for a very long time in my life. So my way of, getting through trauma and dealing with trauma was I play sports. I like to play sports. I like to play basketball. Felt like sports was like my outlet. Sports helped me. I was really good at it. It was something that was just natural for me. So that's what I did. I played basketball, soccer, our cousins playing football. We ran track. We did everything we could possibly think of. And when I say, I played sports, I played for years. It was something that I didn't want to deal with myself, not necessarily wanting to deal with myself. I didn't know that I was running from myself. And I didn't know that I was masking it with sports. So I played high school basketball. I went to the military. I got into a marriage, what I'm saying? That I feel like it wasn't even aligned. We just joined a partnership, not even, under oath with God. We was under oath for other reasons. And to me, that all played a part in my trauma. For me, developing abandonment issues at an early age really made me feel like, I had to buy my way through things. I had to, gather friends in a way that just was not, in a way that wasn't always healthy, right? So before you know it, in and out of relationships, testing waters with homosexuality, just everything you can possibly think of to try to find a way to fill a void when really I needed to do the inner works. And of course, like I said, I was running, but I didn't know what I was running from until, like I always say, you do not deal with it, it'll most definitely deal with you. And that's exactly what happened to me. My trauma hit me like a punching bag. It hit me like, when I say it hit me and knocked me down and I had to sit in it, I truly had to sit in it. And that's when I decided to, give God a chance. You know, my grandmother has always kept me in the church and praying. I always prayed and believed in God. I just never practiced what I preached throughout my life. So when I decided to give my life back to Christ, that's when the inner work started. And I mean, like, people have a beautiful story, and you know, they give their life to Christ and they give their life back to Christ, and that's it. You know, story is over. For me, I felt like that was the beginning of who I was, my identity, defining who Giselle was. And those seasons was like hell on earth. I had to go through seasons of, you know, the ups and the downs, the seasons of just being overwhelmed, the seasons of nothing really happening, the seasons of abundance and, you know, overflow, and the seasons of just sorrow, depression. Because when you are working on yourself and when you are healing and certain steps to heal, things have to come out. And those things that are ugly, those things are good, they're going to come out. And it does not make you feel the best. So, like I was saying, I was, you know, pretty much running, playing sports, drinking alcohol, crazy, heavy drinking alcohol, smoking weed, you know what I'm saying? Whatever I can possibly do to have fun and to run from the feeling of being abandoned. I was piling on things on top of each other. So now I have these abandonment issues, but now I feel like I can't go anywhere without drinking. So I have these abandonment issues. Now I'm in a relationship that does not even fulfill me. I'm not fulfilling him. You know what I'm saying? We're just unequally yoked. The things that he liked in life versus the things that I wanted in life was completely different. And by the time I even realized that, I was freaking 4 years in and feeling miserable. And, you know, I don't blame anybody for the way my life played out. I just thank God that I made it out. Thank God that, you know, I even paid attention and, you know, sat down and said, you know what is this? Like, what's really going on? And really dug deep to, you know, figure out and do the inner works and, you know, healing myself and not even realizing that it was all wrapped around abandonment. It took me to sit down and do the works to see that it was. And it's a lot that you have to go through, but it's a beautiful thing to want to go through it, because you're going to peel back those layers and you're going to realize, you know what I'm saying, there is a beautiful story on the outside of this. So the ways that the ways that I want to say I healed my trauma, and God is using me is, first I had to, you know, journal. I had to cut out certain foods. I had to, because certain foods will lower your vibration. You ever ate a meal and just felt really low after? I feel like those are the foods that lowers your vibration, like, you know, greasy foods, fried foods, just sugary foods, things that are not healthy for you. I had to cut that stuff out. I had to stop going out with people, my friends, going out to the club, you know, all of that. I had to stop doing that. I had to let go of relationships that did not serve, you know, the purpose of where I needed to be. That just was unhealthy for me, even if it was friendships. Even if it was just family ships, I had to let that go too. If certain people in my family want to stay, you know, complacent or, you know, stuck where they are, I had to let that go too, because when you are elevating, you cannot bring people to you. People have to want to come with you. So I had to let that stuff go. And I got really specific about what I wanted. It was to the point where I had a journal, right? My journal had the things I went through / going through, the things that I wanted versus the things that God wanted, or the things that I had received through prayer. I had to make sure everything aligned, because if I'm doing the work and it's just for me, then it's not going to work. I filled that journal. I started praying on things. I started asking God for clarity. I started telling God what type of family dynamics I wanted, because I didn't see that. I saw, you know, family, but I didn't see the dynamics as to what I wanted: a healthy family, you know what I'm saying, a family with real love, and a family, not saying that my family doesn't show it, it's just something that I wanted, I didn't see. So I prayed about the type of man I wanted in my life. I prayed about, you know, what type of job I would like to have, a job that, you know, I'm not confined to that job like a sentence, but, you know, a purpose filling job. And like I said, this is over time. It takes a lot of work, and and I'm still working on things. But when I say a job that is purpose fulfilling, that's where I got into nursing. And I feel like, this is where I can, this is where I can be myself, but also allow God to be in the midst of it and allow Him to, elevate me while also living out my purpose, helping other people, ministering to other people, just telling people how good God is, or, someone on their deathbed, just, hey, God still love you. If you need moments to repent, anything you want me to pray for you. I feel like that is some of the works that you have to be. And of course, asking God for all of these things, there's a waiting period. It is that, prayer without works is dead, but you also have a season of just wait. So after asking God, it doesn't happen overnight, like I said. So you have to, after you put in the work and you ask God for certain things, you have to now wait on it. And while you're waiting and in your wait, you have to also work. So working on changing, like I said, the foods that you're eating, how you dress, what I'm saying, the way you talk to people, the way, you allow people to talk to you, because that plays a major factor into like your healing process. And, trauma will allow, like I said, other things to manifest like depression, anxiety. So if you already have trauma, like I did, like the abandonment issues, and then now you have the anxiety, the depression with it, and what I'm saying, somebody else coming in telling you something in a disrespectful way could provoke you from, living out your fullest potential, or provoke you to beat them up. So like I said, you have to change the way you dress, how you talk, how you allow people to, come in and interrupt your life. And after God did all of that for me, and and I put in the work as well, I am now realizing that all of that was necessary. Because at first I used to question it, like, God, did I really have to go through all of this stuff? But all of it is necessary, because with trauma, think about it. For me, my trauma started when I was younger. I'm 34 years old now. Nothing is going to happen overnight. So you put in all the work, and then you'll start seeing, and you'll allow God to do things. You'll start seeing a shift. You'll start feeling a shift. You'll start noticing places that you did, think you could not live without. You start living without. And like I say, just like for grapes, there's a period of crushing first before you get a fine product. And just like me, and just like you know what I'm saying, somebody listening now, you are in your season of crushing. You are in your season of God just crushing everything, and God just removing things out of, your life so you can get a fine product. And God probably has been pulling on you and telling you, hey, this is a fine time to live your life full of purpose, and to get rid of that trauma, to let go of the things that somebody did to you, to let go of that hurt. You know what I'm saying? Something that your father may have done to you, something that friends have done to you, co-workers. It's time to let go of that trauma and allow God to work in your life. Because if He can't work in your life, then you're just stuck where you are. And we all need progress. We all need growth. And the only way to do so is to let go of the things that are holding you back. So I come in today just to say, what I'm saying, I'm a living proof that, you can still live through your trauma. You can still get through things by allowing God to work it out. But you have to put the work in first. You have to acknowledge that, what I'm saying, that you are stuck. You have to acknowledge your trauma. You have to speak to that trauma. You have to, call out to God and cry out to Him, because He is here to help you. He gives us a choice. And what is it that He wants of you? How are you supposed to handle this trauma? Because there's a reason for everything, and there's nothing that's coincidence. And I feel like your trauma is here to help someone else out, like I'm doing now. I'm on this platform. I'm sharing my story with you guys, not because I want just views. I want somebody to be transformed. I want somebody to be inspired. I want somebody to see, this girl from Newport News, Virginia, messing around with women and drinking this and that, then changing her life for the better, because God stepped in, because I allowed Him to step in. I did the works too, because prayer without works is dead. And to know that nothing is perfect, no one is perfect. We are imperfect people, and God gives us grace. And I just wanted to come in real quick, because that has been on my spirit heavy. And I just feel like, this world, we go through so much, and we really feel like we don't have a voice. And I'm speaking to all of us. We don't have a voice, and we have opportunity to be better. We have the opportunity to, do all that God has called us to do, and be all that God has called us to be. And I know a lot of times our trauma tries to hold us back. But first, like I said, we have to do the work. If you take your hands off the wheel and let God drive, He will do it all for you. Trauma used to drive for me and used to switch gears for me. It used to tell me when to park. It used to tell me when to go in reverse. When my emotions get this way, I'm moving forward. Now I don't have to live that way. And yeah, I love y'all. I pray that, you know, you guys have peace in all that you are trying to do. I pray that if you have any trauma, anything that is bothering you, you give it to God. You allow my story, or, you know, anyone else's stories you've been watching on YouTube, to help you, to heal you, and yeah, to deliver you. I hope you guys got something out of this video. Episode 4 will be uploaded. I love y'all. This is Giselle.